We're going to start in our Google Classroom. You're going to click on your class period. It's the same for both classes. And you will notice a new assignment down in poetry, which is down below reading, I think, right? Yeah, there it is. It's called Mother to Son. And so if you're absent, you're going to open up the poetry document, and you're going to open up poetry analysis. If you're here in class, you have both of these things. I'm going to go ahead and open up poetry analysis so I can guide you through this topic, through this task today. This is a new form that I've created, and it's based on how we analyzed the previous poems that we've read this year in class. So when we read Another Mountain, and when we read everything about gold, life is gold, all that glitters is gold, whatever it was called, the poem from The Outsiders. Anyway, this is the same process we went through, so it's really nothing new, except today you're going to be doing it by yourself. So first of all, start off with your poem, okay? And you'll see the first thing to do is number the lines. And again, you can number every single line. You can number every other line. You can number every 5 lines, just so that when you're working on this paper, you can refer to it. Because after you've read through the poem, you're going to go through it piece by piece, looking for some meaning where you can. That's number 3, reread the poem. You're going to annotate it line by line, making as much sense out of each line. Remember how we did that for Another Mountain? We wrote certain things. We said, hey, this might be that. This looks like this. That's the kind of stuff that we're going to be putting in here. Okay. If you need to find meaning for words that you don't understand, you can look them up in dictionary.com. If that doesn't help, you can check with the teacher to see if there's any help you can get from that. All right. But what's important is, for the second part of this, as you go through and answer each of these questions in Part B, every time you put an answer down, you have to include the line of text where you found the answer. So I'm looking for Another Mountain. We said that a mountain was a metaphor for a problem, and that happened in line 1. Okay, so if you were going to answer that question, you would say, a metaphor is found in line 1, where the author says it's a mountain, which means it's a problem. Okay, so who's the speaker of this poem? We don't know their name, but we can tell what kind of person they are, right? So you can answer those 2 questions here. And then, who is the speaker, or to whom is the speaker speaking? This one's pretty easy in this case. Is there a situation that's evident, place or time or era? Take a look at the dialogue in this one, the dialect in this one. How is the person talking? What can we maybe figure out from that? Make some ideas. Is the situation or setting in time, place evident? Sometimes it is in a poem, sometimes it's not. Notice the poem's diction. List the words which seem especially well chosen. All right, you've got quite a few you could probably put down here. Now, as you go through the poem, we're also looking for metaphors. There's metaphors in this one again. Similes is where they use the word like or as. And so far in the ones we have been reading, I don't think there's been a lot of similes, because poets generally tend to use metaphors. They're stronger comparisons. But if you see any similes, a flower is like a beautiful thing, then you could put that down. Imagery, that is where you're deciding that there's some really strong senses that are being appealed to, which is kind of what gets us to number 7. But you can write down 1 or 2 here where your senses are being appealed to. Any kind of touch, taste, smell, anything like that. Does the author use that? What line? Allusions are when they make an allusion to something famous. Like in Nothing Green is Gold, or Everything Green is Gold, whatever it was called. There was an allusion to the Bible where they talked about, so Eden turned to dusk or whatever. I don't know. That's an allusion to something that's well known by most people. Not always known by everybody. But not every poem has allusions. Personification, we know about that, where non-human things take on human attributes. Like if Another Mountain had said, and the mountain smashes me with its mighty fist, that would be a personification, but not every poem has that. Symbols, are there things that represent other things? Back to Another Mountain, there was like dirt and stone. Those could have been symbols of particular problems or maybe particular people that get in your way, depending on how you look at things. So you're looking for that in this poem. And then, getting back to the imagery part, this is a more concise part for number 7. Where are the uses of sensory devices, and what is the effect of each? Do you have any? Some of these may be here, some may not. Every poem is different. We're going to use this form for different poems, so that's why you'll see sometimes on this form there might be a question you don't have there's no evidence of it in the poem. Describe the structure of the poem. So is there rhyme? Is there stanzas? That kind of stuff. How does it relate to its content? What is the purpose of this poem? Now, after all these things that we've done, we're getting down to the bottom. What is the purpose? I believe the purpose of Another Mountain was to convince people that life is going to be problematic, but you got to keep working on solving those problems. That's the kind of statement you want to make for Mother to Son, based on what you think the purpose of this new poem is. State the poem's central idea or theme. Kind of similar to this, but it might be a little different, a little more specific. What is the theme here? What's the central idea going on? And then finally, what is the tone of the poem? How is it achieved? Like Another Mountain, the tone to me was kind of encouraging, I would say. There was somebody like a coach behind you saying you could do this, right? How was it achieved? By letting us know in these lines, 15, 18, 23, that you can do it, that you can get on with your life and overcome problems. That's what you're looking for in this, all right? So answer these questions as best as you can. Please make sure you've got your name, number, and date on both of these before you turn them in, and that should take care of it. Have a good lesson.